Hello everyone, this is Chantal from Gluten-Free Cooking123.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a gluten-free loaded veggie pizza. The first thing we are going to start with is our pizza dough, and this is why you're here because you're probably looking for gluten-free pizzas, and this is what I'm going to show you. Now I have two different gluten-free pizza dough recipes. I have shared this recipe on my blog. In the future I will be sharing a sourdough gluten-free pizza recipe, but for the meantime I am not going to share it because I'm still working on my other gluten-free sourdough recipes that I want to share with you guys, and then especially the bread, and once I am ready to share that, then I will be sharing the pizza dough. So for now, and actually I do prefer the sourdough pizza dough over this one, even though this is an amazing recipe. But after creating my sourdough pizza dough, I just feel like nothing compares to it. But this is really an awesome recipe, and if you don't have sourdough, and if you don't want to try to make sourdough, this is super easy, and you also don't need to wait for it to rise or anything, so you just make it and bake it. To start, we are going to add, the first thing we are going to add is our brown rice flour, and we need 1 1/4 cup of brown rice flour. And I have half a cup because my cup is broken. I bought some new cups and I'm waiting for them to come. So that's 1 cup and 1/4. And I've shared this before for all of my gluten-free baking. I like to use Anthony's products. Now I'm not associated with them or anything, but I do have an affiliate link, and if you guys want to try their products, they are my favorite products, and this is why I'm sharing them with you. You could click on the link in the description box and it will take you to their website, and you can buy their products directly from them. I try to buy everything that they have, but there are some products that they don't have, so oh well. The next thing we are going to add is potato starch. We need 1/4 cup potato starch. This is super easy. Everything from now on is 1/4 cup. And 1/4 cup of tapioca starch. And 1/4 cup of sweet rice flour. This is one of the things they don't have. But I do wish they did. So that's it for the flour. Now we're going to add salt and sugar. We need 2 teaspoons salt, 1 teaspoon sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I ran out, so I'm just going to use half a tablespoon. Hopefully that's enough. That's it for the dry ingredients. Now, if you want to add seasoning to the dough, like maybe black pepper or oregano or basil, you could do this now, but personally I prefer to add those seasonings on the pizza itself. This will allow me to take the dough and make whatever pizza that I want with it, because if you do put seasoning in the dough itself, then you are kind of limited to what type of pizza that you can make with it. And this way I could make whatever I want with it. I could even make menaiche. I could make so many different things with it. So I'm going to mix the dry ingredients, and then we are going to add our wet ingredients. And I'm preheating my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is for the first bake because we need to bake our dough first before we top it with anything. For the wet ingredients, this is also super simple. We just need 1 egg, and 1 cup of lukewarm water. And we're going to mix all this together. You need some strong arm muscles for this part. because the dough does get a little bit hard. And that's what we want. We don't want it to be sticky, well, too sticky I should say. You want to be able to roll it with a rolling pin. It will resemble sort of a wheat dough, but it will not be, it's going to have some stickiness to it. So when you are rolling it, you want to oil your rolling pin. And of course it's not going to stretch like a wheat dough, but it will have that smoothness in this when it combines together. You'll see, I'll show you. You could also use a KitchenAid for this part, but my KitchenAid bowl is occupied at the moment. I made a wheat dough for my husband and my daughter for their pizza, because for now half of our family is gluten-free and the other half is not. God willing, this baby is not gluten-free, or I should say allergic to gluten. See what I mean by you need strong arm muscles? It's getting really hard to mix. I think this is good enough. Let me show you. Okay, so see how it is, and it kind of collects itself when you are mixing it, and this is what you want. Now when you do mix it with a KitchenAid or with a mixer, you want to be careful to not over mix it, because it will get smooth and then it becomes hard to roll it with a rolling pin. You could still spread it with a spatula or wet your hands and just like pat it over the silicone mat. And I do advise using a silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, you could use parchment paper, or you could oil your pan and spread it directly on your pan. But personally, I prefer using a silicone mat. It's just easier, it's cleaner, and it just makes life much easier. And it comes out really good too. So see how it's just gathering itself, kind of like what a wheat pizza dough would do. See that? And this is its texture. I'm trying to block the light for me. This is really risky. Hopefully it's not going to fall on the ground. See this texture? This is what you want. Okay. So I'm going to clean up and get our pizza rolling stuff ready. So right here I have this rectangular silicone mat. I like to use this just to differentiate between the wheat pizza that I made for my husband and my daughter and between the gluten-free pizza. But if you like a circular pizza, you want to be traditional, you could probably buy a circular silicone mat. I also have here some olive oil that I'm going to use to oil my rolling pin right here. So I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to take the dough and put it on the silicone mat. Now I probably won't need, whoop, that was easy. I probably won't need the whole dough. In fact, that's actually a little bit too big for this silicone mat. So I'm just going to take some out. And what I like to do before I start rolling is just shape it a little bit. I oil my hands a little and shape it a little. Now if you like a thick pizza dough, then you could go ahead and use the whole dough. But I like it to be a little thinner and more on the crusty side. And I'm just going to roll. Whoops. Push too hard this time. You don't want to push too hard. just gentle. I think I need just a tiny bit more. And if there are any imperfections, what I do, I just cut on one side and transfer it to the other, like a puzzle. It's a really forgiving dough, and it's really nice to work with it. And I do have this recipe on my blog, and I will be sharing it in the description box below. I'll also be sharing the recipe for the loaded veggie pizza. Okay, so this looks pretty good to me. It's about 1/4 inch in thickness. If you like it thicker, you can make it thicker. If you like it thinner, you can make it thinner. And then what I like to do now is go around the corner, the edges, and just cut it straight. You don't have to, but I like to do it this way. Okay, and then I take it I like things to be neat. And cut it out. As you can see, it's not that sticky. I'm lifting it with my hands, taking it out. Some of it does stick to my hands. The part of my hands that's not oiled, but not that bad. If you do oil your hands really well, nothing is going to stick to them. I have a visitor on my counter. Do you guys have ants? Every season in the spring we start getting ants, and it's really frustrating. Okay, so now it's ready. I'm going to put it in a sheet pan, and I'm going to bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. Got my sheet pan right here. And now we're going to bake it 10 minutes. Now for the leftover dough, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it in a little Tupperware and put it in the fridge. You could do that, and then whenever you want to make a little pizza or anything with it, you could just take it out and use it. And you do want to cover it fairly quickly, otherwise it will dry out. It's not going to dry super fast, but eventually it will. And it will change the texture of the dough. I forgot to put the timer on the pizza. That's okay. I just put it now. I think it's probably like 7 minutes left. I'll check on it later. Yeah. Okay. So while the pizza's baking, we are going to work on our toppings. I don't call it loaded veggie pizza for nothing. I do use a lot of vegetables on it. So I have here an onion, tomato, green pepper. If you like other types of pepper, you could also use that. If you like jalapeno, you could put that too, but for my kids, they don't like spicy food that much, so I'm just not gonna do that. And my favorite, absolute favorite is mushrooms. I just love mushrooms on pizza. And also I'm going to be putting some olives and some pepperoni and mozzarella cheese. Now, if you want to make it a little heartier, you could put some pre-cooked sausages on top as well, or you could remove the meat altogether and just make it a veggie pizza. I just like the pepperoni with it. I don't like it to be super meaty, but if you're that kind of person, you could go ahead and pre-cook some sausages and then put them on top and bake your pizza. Okay, so to prepare the vegetables, for the onions, we're just going to julienne them. We're practically going to julienne mostly everything. Now, I do want to give a word of advice about the tomatoes. They do make the pizza a little juicy. If you don't like that, you could use aroma tomatoes or some kind of tomatoes that don't have a lot of juice in them, but have more meat instead. And I'm just going to chop half an onion. I don't need the full onion for this. I will need it for the wheat pizza though. Okay. And you could slice it the long way or this way, whichever way. Either this way or the long way, whichever way you want. And same thing for the pepper. Whoops. My knife is getting dull. Okay. I like to slice the tips off and then slice it in half and take the seeds out. I'm also going to julienne these and then slice them in half. Okay, now my mushrooms are already pre-sliced, so I'm not going to do anything about this. I'm just going to slice here half a tomato, and I just slice it in half and I put it down like this, and then I slice. I slice it very thinly. And thankfully this tomato isn't very juicy, so it's not going to make my pizza super juicy. So I just took the pizza out of the oven and I'm letting the pizza dough out of the oven and I'm letting it cool a little bit. I also am preheating my oven at 4 to 450 degrees Fahrenheit because that's the temperature that we need to bake the pizza at when we have the toppings on. So right here I have some green olives and I'm going to pick them. I'm not going to use all of them for this pizza, but I needed them for my other pizza as well. If you don't like olives, you could skip this part, but over here we like olives. And I do like the Lebanese style olives more than the Italian style. I don't like the stuffed olives in the pizza, but if you like that, you could use those as well. Now, just a thought just occurred to me. What would also work with this pizza, if you want to add some tanginess to it, you could sprinkle some feta cheese as well. Excuse the screaming. My kids are playing. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. I think this is plenty. I do want to show you the pizza, how it looks like when it comes out of the oven before we put any toppings on it. There's a little bit of crackling in the crust, but if you do not put any xanthan gum in the dough, you're going to see a lot more cracklings. You're actually going to see holes in your pizza dough, and I'm speaking from experience. When I do forget to add xanthan gum into my dough, this is what happens. It's still edible and still good, but you do definitely need xanthan gum for this dough. And now we're going to put the toppings on it. I do prefer it to be a little bit cooler than this, but it's getting close to lunchtime. Well, it is lunchtime practically, and we're hungry, so I'm just gonna put everything on it. I like to use pasta sauce for my pizza sauce as a pizza sauce. Now you could also make your own pizza sauce, but I just like pasta sauce. You can make like a marinara type of sauce. Now this is not my favorite sauce, but this is what was available. My favorite sauce is actually to use with this. I have 3 different favorite sauces. One of them, my most favorite, would be the Prego traditional Italian sauce, and then after that would be the Prego sauce, also with the basil and garlic and I forgot something else in there. And the other one is the Prego Parmesan with a garlic, I think, roasted garlic, Parmesan and roasted garlic. Those are my 3 favorite pasta sauces to use as a pizza sauce when I do make pizza. Sometimes I do make my own pizza sauce, but this is just quick and easy, and I usually make pizza when we just want a quick lunch and we're craving carbs. So I'm gonna start topping it. I'm gonna put some pizza sauce. You could put as little or as much as you like. If you're the kind of person that likes a lot of sauce, go for it. I'm not gonna judge you. And if you're the person that likes a little bit of sauce, that's fine too. I do like to leave a little bit of crust on the edges because I like to have that crustiness in there. I don't like all of it to be filled with sauce and stuff. Add a little more sauce. And now I'm going to add my cheese on top. This is the kind of cheese I get. I just get a giant bag of mozzarella cheese and I divide it and put it in the freezer. And then whenever I need it, I pull it out and use it. You could use fresh mozzarella if you like, but this is, for us, this is more convenient. And I don't like to put tons of cheese. I do like to see a little bit of the sauce peeking out still. I'll put this here so that you can see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to add the pepperoni. I'm filming.
Is the lunch almost done?
Yes.
Yay.
You could put as little or as much pepperoni as you like. My son likes pepperoni, so I'm just loading it, even though I don't like it that much. So now we're going to start on our vegetables. I like to put the onions in first. And I do just literally load it. I might have to cut the rest of the onion. I'm going to add the tomatoes now. And the peppers. And now the olives. Okay. And now I'm going to add my mushrooms. If you don't like that much mushrooms, you could reduce the amount. I am crazy about mushrooms. I just love them. I love all the vegetables. And what I normally do is, because my son doesn't like the vegetables that much, I have him have some of them, but then I take the rest of them off of his pizza and I put them on top of mine, so I don't mind the extras. So now, for the last part is we're going to add some seasoning. I have some oregano over here and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that, not much, just a tiny bit to add that hint of Italian. And then I'm going to add in some salt. I like to add salt because there's a lot of vegetables on top and I feel like it needs it. I have some sea salt over here. Some black pepper, some garlic powder. I think garlic powder adds a great flavor to the pizza, even without all these vegetables. Same thing with the black pepper and salt, just maybe not as much salt as I did put. I put a lot less salt. Now I'm going to drizzle it with the olive oil. And I like to go back and forth. Those veggies definitely need the olive oil to help them get cooked. Add that extra deep flavor in there. Okay, so now my oven is preheated at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to stick this in the oven for 12 minutes and it's done. And then after that we're just going to let it cool down a little bit and then we can dig into it. And you also want to put it on the bottom rack because you want maximum heat exposure. And I know I always use conventional bake, but I still feel I still think there's a difference between which rack you use, even if you're using conventional bake, at least in my oven. While this is baking, I'm going to work on my wheat pizza dough and to feed the other half of my family. And then I'll get back to you guys and show you what the gluten-free loaded veggie pizza looks like. Okay, so it just came out of the oven and look guys, it smells amazing. Ooh. Look at this. This is just all goodness. Oh, yum. It's spilling everywhere because I'm tilting it. Just so that you guys could see it. So now I'm just going to let it cool down a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how I cut it. And then we're going to try it. I can't wait. So to cut the pizza, especially because this is on a silicone mat, I like to take my scissors and cut it. So I just cut it in half. It's a rectangle, so it's kind of going to be odd a little bit. And I just lift the pizza up a little bit. Now, if you didn't have that many vegetables on it, the dough is not going to be soft. It's going to be a little crispy. But because there are a lot of vegetables on it, it's going to be a soft dough. Now the vegetables are not like super cooked. If you want to avoid this problem of having a soft dough, if you don't like that, what you could do is pre-cook the vegetables a little bit with some olive oil and then add them to your pizza. But personally, I like the fresh taste of the vegetables on my pizza, and this is why I do it this way. Yes, I am sacrificing the crusty dough, but that's okay. Now with my sourdough, the pizza dough comes out a little more crusty than this when I do put vegetables on it. And that's why I like to use my sourdough pizza dough with this recipe. Now for the truth. So this is how it looks like. I took a small piece and you could see you could carry it like this and it's not going to fall apart on you. Now I'm super hungry, a little jittery, so I'm gonna take a bite and it's gonna be delicious. This is so good. So good. Super, super, super good. You guys should try it. And if you don't like vegetables, and if you took anything out of this video, at least you now know how to, I hope I don't have food on my mouth. At least you now know how to make a gluten-free pizza dough, and you could top it with whatever topping you like, but I was sharing my recipe for the loaded veggie pizza. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. And if you are new to this channel, if this is the first time you are here, click the subscribe button so that you can see more of these videos and learn how to make delicious gluten-free food. And if you like this video, hit the like button and share it with your friends and family so that they can also learn how to make gluten-free, delicious gluten-free food. And don't forget to hit that bell as well so that you can receive notifications if whenever I upload new videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode.